Finishing up work on the instrument panel. Got the wiring reinstalled. Installed the temperature gauge for the hydraulic touch control system. Got my levers, linkages all done. And what a problem this turned out to be. Sometimes I think the easiest task is going to be easy. It turned out to be the worst. I could not get the old probe out of the screen of the strainer and the hydraulics to get the new probe in. So I yanked and pulled and inquired online, and so I just went out and found a used one. Should be getting it sometime next week. Cost about $30, but man, that turned out to be a huge disappointment. On the other side, I cleaned up the pedal guard and was going to install it, but I want to put a coat of primer on this thing, do a little more work on it, put a coat of primer on it. Apparently this thing's designed in such a way that water sits in it and causes rust and corrosion. Kind of a poor design. Maybe a couple of drill holes to let the water drain out would have been in order. On a sad note, the linkage that runs from the governor control down to the foot accelerator, I broke it. Broke it about right here when I was adjusting the nut. And a gentleman at work is going to attempt to weld that back together. Since there are very few of those made, I doubt if I could ever find a new one. Although I could manufacture one, just a simple rod with a 90-degree bend and thread it in, and I could do that if necessary. Working on got the steering coupler put back together. Don't know why it's loose. I don't think it's loose. I'll take it off. I'll take another look at that. But the big project for the time being is rebuilding the steering gearbox, and was a lot of play in that. And according to the manual, I'm I've taken off the radiator, taken off the generator. I'm to take these bolts here off, take the support off here, and remove this entire assembly out with wheels and tires all together. I've got the tractor secured. I'm going to add a jack underneath it just for safety, and I'll probably need my hoist to make sure I lift this thing off properly. But in any event, that's the project that's ongoing. Don't know how much I'll get on this week. Weather's turned out to be pretty decent, but work is kicking my butt, so I'm having to work late. But we're moving along. All for now. Had a little more time this evening than I had realized, so I tackled taking off the steering mechanism and the steering gearbox from the tractor. Man, that's a lot like work. 90 pounds of impact wrench wouldn't free up some of those bolts, but thankfully I've got a 1-inch breaker bar. Took care of it, and this thing's a nasty beast. I thought I had drained water out of this thing and replaced it with oil, but it was a putrid smell when this thing came apart and dumped the remaining contents onto my garage floor. I think what I'm going to do is wheel this thing out into the driveway and put the power washer to it. I like when I'm rebuilding components, if I get them clean as I can going in, it seems to make the job a little bit more enjoyable. And I got to clear off a spot for my workbench, set this up, and get to rebuilding. All for now.